Good morning, guys.
Hey.
Thank you for joining us um, for your interviews and thank you for your time. Today we're going to talk to gentlemen who are both veterans, both served in different capacities during the Vietnam period. The gentleman to my left, Herman Grevious, has a Purple Heart. The gentleman to my right served in two different areas of the military, in the Army and the Navy during the same period. The first story we're going to hear is from, his name is Reggie or Reginald?
Reggie is fine.
Willis.
Yes.
And could you tell us your story, Mr. Willis?
Actually, I came out of high school, Taft High School in 1969, and I entered the military 6 months later, enlisted in the Navy, and I became a Navy corpsman, which is equivalent to an Army medic. I went to my basic training in Orlando, Florida. It was a pretty new facility at that time. And after I finished that, I took a couple of weeks leave. Then they sent me to San Diego, California, at Balboa Hospital for my hospital corps school. And I spent about 16 weeks there. After that, they sent me to Great Lakes, Illinois, at the Naval Regional Medical Center, or the hospital. And I was a hospital corpsman on a medical ward. So I was basically doing kind of nursing work, which I hated. I had terrible evaluations at that time because I really hated being a corpsman, didn't want to be a corpsman. They told me I was going to be a dental technician, which I was looking forward to that, but the lesser of the two evils. And I didn't want to go in country in Vietnam. Totally afraid of that. I dodged that bullet altogether. The only thing was about being a Navy corpsman was that the Marine Corps is the Navy's land fighting force. They do not have medics. So the Navy's medics would be trained on the ground to go with the Marine Corps units. So that was one of the things I was concerned about as well. Actually dodged that bullet as well too. Eventually, I did 8.5 years of Navy time. I came out, discharged. I was a lab technician at the time, which is a specialty skill. I went to college at University of Cincinnati. 2 years in, I joined Army ROTC because they only offered Air Force and Army. So at that point, when I graduated, I was in college from 79 to 83. When I graduated that day, I got commissioned as a second lieutenant. I went back on active duty for the Army as a medical service corps officer. And I became a patient admin officer. And the last job I had in the Army, after doing 7 years of active duty, was as a medical regulating officer. If I had been in Vietnam, my job would have been to evacuate or coordinate evacuation for wounded soldiers like Herman, who was in country on the ground. He is a Vietnam veteran, I'm a Vietnam era veteran. The difference is I didn't go into the country and fight like Herman was. So that's the big difference in those two. So that's my military background, my story.
So what are you doing today, sir?
Today, retired. Will be 73 years old this year, and I am actually retired. I could say semi-retired because I'm actually doing things that I really like doing. I'm a very artsy type person. I was involved in theater in Cincinnati from 1979 all the way up, actually until now. I was an adjunct professor at UC for about 5 years. I taught black drama, which is the history of black theater and film all over. And now I'm a facilitator for the drum circle, a volunteer at the VA hospital. We drum 2 days a week from 12 to 1 o'clock. I'm giving back to other soldiers who need some type of healing. And so that's what we do. And also, I still train with drumming, and we play around the city. We were at 5 Points Alley on Wednesday. We may be there again this Wednesday. We were just at Findlay Market playing from 12 to 2 o'clock this past Sunday, and it was great. People love it. And the drums, they have a tendency to bring people out and to help heal and help lift people's spirits and everything. So that's one of the things that I do. The other thing is I work with Cincinnati Public School students, kindergarten through 6th grade, 7th grade, and I teach jewelry making. And so we have a lot of fun doing that. Kids love it because they get to take something home every day. And I work with a lot of wood, beads, shell, stones, gems, glass, clay, anything, try to stay with the natural stuff. And so it's about creating, it's about being bold, expressive, and that's what I like. I like color, I like big. And so that's
So
what
those
we do.
necklaces are, the necklaces that you have on right now are some of your work?
Yes, this one is a piece of my work here. This one is not. These are just strung shells. And so this, I kind of like make this an accessory to the accessories.
So why do you come to New Generations? Why do you gather here?
Actually, I just found out about New Generations through Brock Williams, or William Brock. I haven't actually been here for any of the functions, but it seems like a nice place to come. I've met a few of the brothers like Herman and Bo and a few other people. When I found out about more things coming up, most of the functions are private functions, if I'm not mistaken. So I'm usually not invited unless it's somebody giving it that I know.
Yeah.
So that's my connection with New Generations.
Thank you. Thank you.
Sure.
So Herman Grevious, Purple Heart.
Yes.
Tell me your story, sir.
Well, I more or less, I had a child when I was at the age of 17, which changed everything that brought me to where I am today, because I had to leave school. And back in the 60s, you have to understand, we only had a few options available to us at the time. So it was either the military or you looking at prison. So I chose the military. A lot of my friends was talking about, you know, oh man, you crazy, you know, but I had to do what I had to do because I brought forth the light, you know. So me being the person that I am, I went on and bit that bullet, joined the Marine Corps back in 1967. Took my basic training in San Diego, California with MCRD. In 6 months of training, I'm in Viet Nam. You know, 6 months. I mean, but I was making rank fast. I went from being a private to a private first class to a lance corporal to a corporal, all within 6 months. You know, but these were the things I was doing. But like him, he said he dodged a bullet. I was literally dodging bullets, you know. But it was an experience. I mean, it changed my life even today.
When I hear the word Purple Heart, I know it's one of the highest honors, if not the highest honor, that a soldier, Marine can get from, you know, in this United States.
Well,
but what did it take, Herman, to get that?
Well, for me, you know, I was wounded. That's what a Purple Heart is. You get actually injured in combat. The highest honor is a Medal of Honor. Okay. That's for gallantry, heroism, and things along that line. I mean, I have several medals, but they were awarded as Presidential Unit Citations, which is for valor of that whole unit, which I have 2 Silver Stars and 3 Bronze Stars, and the Purple Heart.
Wow.
But it was a life-changing experience, believe that. I mean,
but when you were awarded it, you were wounded, but you were wounded because you were saving someone else, or you were leading your platoon into...
It was a combination of all. I was trying to save mine and save you. I just happened to be in the wrong place at the wrong time, you know. I mean, people was getting knocked down. I mean, you know, they was getting injured. So we had this thing where it's no man left behind. So when it's hitting the fan, you still got to go in and do what you got to do. You got to get people out to get them the people that he trained to be, which was a corpsman.
Right.
The corpsmen rush in, we come in and help them out to get the people out. We don't leave nobody. And in the process of doing these things, that's what happened to me. I got caught up. So that's how the Purple Heart came. Actually, I got wounded twice within 15 minutes. The first one hit, I went down. The guys came in to get me out. While they was taking me out, the second one hit. Boom. I got blew out again, you know, which hit me from here up underneath, you know, because I was on my stomach. They had me in a poncho.
Yes.
But even that, once they took me to the LZ, which is a landing zone for the evacuation, somebody mixed me up with the people that was dead. So, I went from a WIA, which was a wounded in action, to a KIA, which is killed in action. They had me wrapped up in a poncho. I didn't know. I'm out of it. They done shot me up with morphine. So when they put me down, I came to. I was in a helicopter because I could hear everything going on. I was in and out of consciousness. So in the process of me trying to lift my hand up to touch my face, my hand wouldn't go no farther than here. That was in a bag. I didn't know it. I heard somebody hollering, "Hey, he is alive," And when they unzipped the thing and opened it up, all this air rushed in, and I took a deep breath. And then I heard people talking to me, "Hey, you gonna be all right? You gonna be all right?" People he done trained probably.
Yes, yes.
And from that point on, I went from the fields to a field hospital.
Okay.
And that was in Da Nang, somewhere in Da Nang, I believe. And from Da Nang, I went to Japan. But that's just part of the story. I don't want to give it all to you at one time. But it gets interesting even after that.
So what happened after that?
Well, the whole, I'm over that. You want to hear about April?
I do.
April?
I want you to talk about it. And when we talked earlier, I was so touched, and I still am, when you told me in April of 1968. Why don't you tell us that story?
I'm in a foxhole. We on patrol. We out on our little nighttime problems, which is what they call the reconnaissance missions and stuff like that. When one of the guys came over to us and said Martin Luther King was just killed. And
It's all right. Take your time.
it created conflict. Told you.
It's okay.
It's okay though.
Yeah, it created a conflict within me because here I am fighting people. Whose struggle is similar to mine.
Got me going now.
And so now I'm questioning everything. Like I said, these people, they fighting for their independence, and people back here dying for their independence. I'm, 18, 19 years old, trying to figure this thing out. The people, I love the Vietnamese people, per se. They never had a problem with me, unless we came up on each other under circumstances that was beyond our control. But other than that, the people themselves were welcoming, their culture, their tenacity, their perseverance. I mean, to me, their ingenuity. They were very remarkable people, and to see this thing go down like it did, it still bothers me.
One of the things that you said that touched me, Herman, was that, and I just thought it was just so poetic, is that you said, here I am fighting people in a war people I know nothing about, and I'm fighting them in a war, and Martin Luther King got killed fighting for peace.
Same thing, conflict.
Yeah.
It was conflict. And that's what really set things in motion with me. See, today they want to use woke like something bad. But when you become woke, you become conscious. You become aware of what's happening politically, socially, economically, all around you. But they weaponize this word today because being woke, you're coming into an understanding of just everything that envelops you in your life and the things that you do, the things that you need to do. And there's a lot of people still walking around here asleep, just
Absolutely.
don't care to want to know what's happening. And right now, today, it's even worse,
Yeah.
And these things, they bug me to death.
Yeah.
See
The conditioning.
what's happening with the educational system and all these gunslingers out here in the street. That's why when my nephews and my nieces and whoever, when they go into the military now, we were steered in the direction where they wanted us to go at the time we enlisted, unless you had the wherewithal to know what you wanted to do and to go ahead and do it. Well, I was more or less a prototype as to basically what you didn't want to be, you know. So my nieces and my nephews and my own children, I steered them in a direction. Right now, they all was in cybersecurity. So, you know, my nephew, he in there right now, my great nephew, he's in the Air Force. He's been in there about 7 years. So he's going to rotate out in probably another 6 or 7 years. They got employment. The thing is to come out and have a job skill. I came out as a sniper, gunslinger, you know what I mean? So ain't no employment for me out here to do that, you know. So we, like I said, we set them on a course that they can have a skill set when they come out. Just like now, my daughter's retiring out of the Navy after 22 years. My son retired after 26 years in the Navy. He went into cybersecurity. He worked over in Dubai, over there in Bahrain and Djibouti, Africa, and setting up communication sites for them countries to be able to communicate with each other. My daughter right now, she's in cybersecurity. She's up there in Washington, D.C., and Maryland. She got a job waiting on her coming out, 6 figures. As soon as she walk out the door, she just take that uniform off and jump in the seat and doing the same thing. My nephew, the same way. He was going to do 20 years, but after he seen the money that he was getting offered, he getting ready to cut that short and come out. My sons, my daughters, and my nephews, all of them in the same field.
So your family has a history,
Military.
and a military history serving these United States.
Correct.
And that's an amazing. That's truly amazing. You don't hear a lot of that, especially amongst African Americans. We're the family, generation after generation after generation. And was there someone who was military before you? Or
Yeah,
you
my
started?
brothers, my cousins, uncles, all of them. You know, Korea, they done went from Korea. I don't know if anybody was in World War II or anything, but yeah, I have a military history in the family. I'm the only one that, all of them were basically Navy and Air Force. Well, my youngest brother, he went into the Army, but me, I took that hard road, Marine Corps. You know, but
Right.
I did a lot of things when I was young. I hunted, you know, weapons was always my thing. So I gravitated to it. But actually, I went for the Navy first. They rejected me because I had a child, you know.
Wow.
So that's how I wound up with the Marine Corps.
Yeah.
And it was a hell of a life, but I'm telling you, some of the lessons and the training and things, not only the weaponry and all that, but the man up type of stuff, you know, to make you grow up, to be the person, you know, and to have, to be perseverance, to have perseverance, you know. I got all these skills from them, you know. I learned a lot. I learned a lot, and they did a lot of things too, and I can get to that too. Talk about that part too. So
Let's talk about why you come in new generations. What does this here, when you guys get together, and I understand some people come down here daily. Is it therapy? Is it? I mean, what goes on?
yes, it's therapy. It's therapy. This is family for me. In fact, Bo is my first cousin. My mother and his mother were sisters. So I come down here to hang out. I done met a lot of people. He knows a lot of people. And I met him, Reggie here, and Brock, and a lot of people by coming through here. Sometimes, you know, I'm the guy that you might look up and don't even know I'm in the room half the time. I'm in the shadows. This is the most you to see me talk unless I warm up to you, you know what I mean? But yeah, I'm normally in the shadows, and I just sit back and listen to their stories. And the thing, because they had entirely different experiences than I did, trust me.
Yes.
And I listened to them, and I learned a lot, you know. See, and a lot of times it's best to keep your mouth shut because you don't know who you approach. You know what I'm saying? So, like I said, that military training kick in, you got to surveil, and you got to walk lightly because you don't know who's a minefield, you know what I mean? Because some of these guys is minefields, but you take them for jokes and they not. You know what I mean? So
you're going to mental reconnaissance, don't you? You're just sitting
right.
there like taking it all in.
Exactly. So.
Yeah. But I like what you said about having a purpose. If you're going into the military, have a direction, not just physical labor or being exploited, you know, that way. Just, hey, I want to come out with something.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I didn't have a direction when I went in. I just wanted to get away and do what I had to do. They steered me where they wanted me to go.
Yeah.
And had I had the wherewithal to understand this at the time, but being, 18 years old when I went in, I didn't know what I wanted to do.
Yeah.
I mean, but to me, half the stuff that's going on out here in these streets, if they snatch them up and they put them through some of that training, I guarantee you got to take these boys out of this environment. That's part of the problem. I don't want to change subjects on
No,
you.
well, you didn't change
Okay.
subjects because that's where I was going with my next question. So when you look around today, and you've already started answering that, when you look around today and what's going on, and one of the things I told you all when we first started this was that I want this to be a legacy piece for you and for your family and for the community here. And so, what would you say would be your legacy, Reggie, and what you see going on, and then what you see that you've done to push things forward?
I think my children are my legacy at this point.
Exactly.
I've always tried to be an example setter, lead by example. I've taken certain things and I've embodied certain things as far as having my own personal creed, code of conduct, how I conduct myself, especially around my children, and the discipline that I instill in them to move forward and be disciplined enough to take control of their lives and develop themselves and become more aware, more woke, so you know exactly what you're dealing with when you're out here. I'd like to see more black leaders come up. That's what I would like to do. My interaction with kids, and I'm constantly focusing on their behavior and how they're interacting with each other and redirecting them in a way that they start to become more aware of the diversity among themselves, be respectful of one another, and support each other, because that's what we're going to need. We need to change the mindset of our children so they can grow up as leaders and stop sitting back, not wanting to take any responsibility, and not holding themselves accountable for their own actions. A lot of this mess that's going on out here, some of it is just garbage, and we have been so conditioned to feed into that we are hung up on petty squabbles and struggles. You know, it's like we should be more conscious of uplifting people, educating ourselves, and moving forward, because we're not in a good position, and we're not going to be. It's tough. It's tough. It's worse now, really, to me. Yeah. Now that I'm waking up to a lot of things, because we control nothing. Yeah. Nothing. And we're worthless. I mean, if we have $280 billion of disposable income, and we're giving it all the way as consumers, that's all we do. We consume, and those dollars do not pass through our hands in our black communities 8 to 10 times like it should, and we can't build anything. We have no foundation. If something were to really go down here, what nation or what group of people are the most disposable? Because we don't produce anything. It's us. That's a scary thought. So I think we need to change it. We need to change it. So I would say my children are my legacy, but I want to continue to try to uplift and educate other people around me, especially the younger ones, change some minds.
The same here. Same
Your
here.
legacy.
Yeah, my children are my legacy, and like I try to lead by example as well. I mean, I used to run the street, did a lot of different things, even coming back by me dealing with post-traumatic stress, you know. I was trying to anesthetize myself with alcohol, weed, pills, you know, just to keep an even balance, because I didn't know what was happening with me. But once I saw kids, my grandkids or whatever, start to come into play, and I knew they was watching me, you know, so I had to change what I did, the way I presented myself. So when I started correcting my behavior to gain their respect, to be able to listen to me, that's what I did. But as far as these streets out here, a lot of this stuff is being perpetuated and motivated by social media.
Yes.
When that internet hit and that
Yes.
TikTok and all this stuff, now the Chinese are the ones that's pushing this TikTok, but yet still they don't even allow their children to even be on these sites. And when they do, they regulate them for like 3-4 hours a week. They shut them down. But their kids are being indoctrinated to be scientists, doctors, astrologists or whatever, whereas the kids here are influenced to be influencers or just gangsters, thugs, you know, all this nonsense. You see all these kids fighting on that. You want to see a 5-minute fight scene. The girls is getting just as bad as these boys because they've been influenced by these reality shows and all this nonsense on these social medias. If you pluck these kids up out of it, like myself, when I came up, I didn't know what it was, but this Cincinnati area. But once I made it to California, what really amazed me was to see a palm tree. A palm tree. I was so excited to see a damn palm tree, you know, in the ocean and the sand and all of that. But everything else was just fodder. You know, let's do it. I'm ready now. I'm in a different location. That's why when I came back, and these guys still standing around doing, they was foreign to me. You got to take these boys out of this environment. Even when they go to prison, that's like a reunion for these guys. Half their friends, all their friends are sitting in the same spot where they just left. You know, they come into this environment, it's like homecoming. And they use, to me, I listen to my grandson. I got a grandson doing life without parole at the age of 20-something years old for some homicides that he had no business getting caught up in, but he wouldn't listen. So he didn't want to accept what I was giving because he felt like I wasn't out here. You know, I didn't live the thug life. But see, they use from prison as like a rite of passage. You know, and it's sad that they look at this in this way, you know. And these people, it's like they hate each other. There's so much hatred for self that it bugs the hell out of me. You know, when you said they can't even get together. The last time I went to one of these family reunions downtown, I always leave at a certain time because I go fishing a lot, and they normally have them at the time I go to Canada. I've been going to Canada for 36 years to fish, okay? This particular time, which was back probably the last time I went, had to be around 2001. Well, anyway, I'm leaving. I see about 15 young people coming down the street. They got bats and iron poles. Now, you know they coming to do battle. You know what I mean? Here we had a function where everybody's supposed to be enjoying themselves, but here you got this group. But here they come. You know what I'm saying? And you already know it's going to be some nonsense. My daughter calls me because she was working for Odell Owens at the time at his booth down there. She said, Dad, these guys is down here. They had one of their partners come in. He go around to the fence. The other ones come up to the fence where they done set up a prearranged location. They passing guns and everything over the fence. This is when the boy got killed down here on Fountain Square. The police chased him and shot him down on Fountain Square, a 17-year-old. That's where that stemmed from. They passing guns over the fence. They coming to do damage. They ain't coming to have a good time. When we was coming up, you know, we was dressed to the nine, you know, we out partying, we having a good time. Now today, they coming with Dickies and Timberlands on. They looking for some work. You know, come on, talk to me. Don't let me preach. I'm past all this other stuff. You don't get me started.
I want to thank both of you for your time and for your sharing and being authentic and organic. And really appreciate you guys. And
Well, thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
I appreciate it.